All right, what is going on, everybody? Today's tutorial is going to be on how to set up your first Facebook ads campaign properly. So, a couple things you need to know about Facebook. One is that you basically, the way the campaigns are structured, you have your campaigns, and then inside the campaigns, you have the ad sets. It's like a pyramid. So, inside the campaign, you have any ad sets that you create. And then inside those ad sets, you have the individual ads, right? So at the top of the pyramid, you have the campaigns. The middle, you have the ad sets. And then you at the bottom, you have all the ads that are inside all of those ad sets, right? I don't know if that made sense or not, but that's basically how it works. So you have two different types. Well, really, you have several different types of campaigns, but you have two different types of campaigns when we're referring to just the normal campaigns. You have the ad set level budget optimization campaigns, which is where you basically come in here for each of these individual ad sets that you see, and you set the budget on how much a day on average you basically want them to spend. The other way to do this is you can set what is now called an Advantage Plus budget campaign, where you basically set the budget at the campaign level. So what this does is, say we have these four ad sets right here, rather than going in and saying, $75 a day, $100 a day, $100 a day, $100 a day, setting the budget at the ad set level, what we do instead is we go over here and where it says campaign, we have it set to, $300 a day. So that is basically, how you set your budget on the campaign. And the reasoning behind this is Facebook will typically optimize the campaigns by allocating the budget to where they feel is best. They aren't always right, but they usually do a pretty good job at it. So you may have to make some adjustments like we did here in turning this off. This was running today and it wasn't performing where we needed it to be, so we turned it off. Even though it did have 5 purchases. So I'll get into that some more in a little bit, but just wanted to show you the structure. Making sure that you are choosing the correct objective is going to be very important on Facebook. If you want to get sales, you don't want to be choosing engagement as the objective. And if you're wanting to get sales, generally that means you're wanting to get purchases. You're not wanting to get add to carts or initiate checkouts. So another mistake that people make is say they'll choose sales as the objective, but then for the optimization event, they will actually choose like add to carts or view content or something, when really what they're wanting is purchases. You have to tell Facebook what you're wanting to get because that's basically what they're going to give you, right? So make sure you're choosing sales if you're an e-com business that isn't a service-based business. You most likely are going to want to choose sales. You're going to want the objective to be conversions, and you're going to want the optimization event to be purchases. So that's basically, simply put, how you want to set it up as far as the objective goes. Now, typically on Facebook, CBOs or Advantage Plus budgets work well. You could run ad set level budgets if you want. It really depends on how many ad sets you're going to have running and all. But if you're going to have several different ad sets running, it's probably best to start with a CBO. If you have a smaller budget, like say $50 a day, just know that you can get some results from that. It's just you're probably not going to get out of learning. So basically what that means is that over here where it says the learning phase progress right here, you have to have 50 purchases per ad set in order to actually be out of the learning phase. Now, what happens is if you don't get this within their time frame, then it's going to show learning limited over here, and it'll be yellow, which means basically means that it's not fully optimized. So you're going to want to make sure you're getting enough purchases to actually exit the learning phase. But you also, since you are needing to give Facebook data for these purchases, you have to make sure that your purchases and your conversions tracking and everything is set up properly. So in other words, your pixel needs to be set up properly and your conversions API needs to be set up properly. Now, if you have a Shopify store, setting up your pixel is pretty easy. It's fairly straightforward, but the conversions API, you can watch videos online for that. Or if you don't want to set it up yourself, you could hire somebody on a site like Upwork if you really wanted to, and they could set it up for you. Now, that will not be tracking the post iOS 14 conversions of people who have opted out of the tracking, most likely. So what you can do to combat this is you can go over here. This is a site called Surge. Now, you can find this on the Shopify App Store. This is a very helpful tool, pretty simple to set up. But basically what you're going to do is you set this up, and this will show you more accurate data post iOS 14 and iOS 15 for your tracking. And the other benefit of this is it updates a lot faster than Facebook does. So when I'm running campaigns and it's showing, say 6 purchases on Facebook, and then the next day the rest of the purchases show up, or most of the rest of the purchases show up, then I'm able to look on here within a few minutes of getting new sales and actually see the sales on here much quicker. So that can be really beneficial if you're spending, a fairly high budget on Facebook and you're not wanting to wait, a whole day before you look at the analytics and turn stuff off. It's also helpful, like I said, because you're able to track purchases more accurately. You're able to see more purchases or see if Facebook is, over reporting something. So you can look over here, for example, and of these 4 ad sets that are running, it's showing we're at a 1.5 ROAS on Facebook. See, this is the Facebook generated data. Now over here, according to Surge, we are actually at a 4.29 ROAS for those 4 running ad sets. So there is a big difference between a 1.5 ROAS and a 4.29 ROAS. So this information and having accurate data can be very helpful if you're trying to scale your e-com business effectively and really understand your margins or understand your numbers and how much you're actually bringing back from your ads. Going back to the Facebook ads, I'm going to go over a few mistakes, things that you should not do when running your Facebook ads. So over here, you can see we have 4 different ad sets running. Ideally, if you have a fairly small budget, you do not want to have, say 7 or 8 different ad sets running if your goal is to get purchases, right? Because what that's going to do is that, if you're running an Advantage Plus budget campaign where it basically distributes the budget across all of those ad sets, then you aren't going to be getting very much budget to those ad sets. Or if you're running an ad set level budget campaign and you have a smaller budget, then you're not going to be able to afford to spend as much budget on each of those ad sets, which means it's going to be giving Facebook less data to work with to optimize the campaigns, if that makes sense. Now, another mistake a lot of people make on Facebook is they choose these very small interests to target that are like, 10,000 people in the audience, or they narrow down the audiences way too much. Like they'll choose a very small age group because they think that that's the type of people that would actually buy their product. So they may do like, 18 to 25 or something, and it'll be just this really small audience. But what will happen is most of the time, if you do that and you really narrow down the audience, the results will be much worse on Facebook. So you have to kind of give the platform room to breathe and, not necessarily restrict everything as much. So you try to leave it more open and let Facebook's tracking and let their algorithm basically do the work to figure out what is working. It's very good at figuring out what is working. Now, as far as, structuring your campaigns go, you want to make sure that everything is organized. This is another big mistake that a lot of people make. So as you can see over here, I'm looking at these ad sets and I know what each of these is just by looking at it. Now, if I go over here to the campaigns, we can see over here, this says CBO-conversions- and then it has the date that it started. So I know what this campaign is and when it started just by looking over here, which is very helpful. So you'd be surprised at how helpful that can be. Another thing is coming over here, and along with being organized with, what you're structuring your campaign or how you're naming your campaigns, you also want to be organized about how you are testing things. So for example, if say I've got this one right here is, targeting, just feeds. And then I have this right here is set to, Reels for the placements. And then this one right here is Advantage Plus. And then this one's like a couple of the feeds for placements. That's not organized. So ideally what you want to do is you want to set all of these to the same thing. Now with the way Facebook is now, you can just set it to Advantage Plus as the placements, and that should give you pretty good results. This one right here, I actually kind of screwed up because I was having some issues duplicating the page post ID for whatever reason, having some kind of error with their system, and it wasn't letting me basically copy it for whatever reason. I don't know. But anyways, this is what you don't want to do. See this one right here. If you go and you look at it, see where these placements are right here, where my mouse is. This means this is just manual placements. So I went in here and basically just selected the feeds for the placements for these ads. Now, typically what you want to do is you want to make it all the same. So you can just use Advantage Plus placements, or you could use, feeds if you wanted. Typically, feeds are going to convert better than the other placements, but with the way Facebook's algorithm is now, you can use Advantage Plus and, see really good results. So anyways, that's about it for now. To kind of sum things up with Facebook ads, you want to keep everything consistent, keep it organized, make sure your tracking is set up properly. So, making sure your pixel is set up properly and you're able to accurately track data, that's going to be very important, but also putting out very high quality creatives and also not putting out too many creatives to where Facebook is having a hard time optimizing. So those are some of the main points and the main takeaways I have for Facebook ads. I hope you like this video. Feel free to leave any questions you have in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them.